Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Hearthstone Legendary Series Challenger Finals for week number 6. We are one step away from finding out who our first player of the day is to join in from the open qualifiers. Hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. Gooby versus FlyBird. The name escaped my mind for just a second, but thankfully it nested well inside my head.
Oh, as well as that pun. And Gooby, of course, joined us last week, or 2 weeks ago, because we took a break for the holidays, with his top 4 finish in that Challenger Cup, and now doing it again. Very impressive feat, so we'll see if he can go 2-0 today in these matches and secure his spot tomorrow. Again, a lot on the line for these players, because for the Legendary Series match day tomorrow, the winner gets an automatic invite to that $20,000 land final in February, and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place also get invited back to the following week. So these guys, the first 4 weeks was sort of a little bit of a taste, but now there's big stakes, big stakes.
Well, it's starting to ramp up, that's for sure. The competition is getting fiercer. I know people are messaging us at ESL like, can I get more information about the ESL weekly cups? And I'm like, yeah, well, you should have been playing from the very beginning.
I know, right?
But you guys can also play too if you want to check it out. ESL.gg/Legendary Series. Get all the information on when to sign up. The next one is January 4th on Sunday, and you could be the one playing in the top 4 here if you got the skills.
If you got the skills.
So let's take a look really quick at the lineup here. We have Warlock versus Druid, then Druid versus Shaman, and then Warrior versus Warlock.
Okay, so both of these Warlocks are Handlock. So, with that said, first matchup, Handlock versus Druid. I'm trying to think what type of Druid this was for Gooby. One of these players had heavy ramp, and one of these players had like a Violet Teacher, Power of the Wild, but I don't remember which was which. I guess we'll see.
We'll just wait and see, because I think the first match is almost underway. We have Druid versus Warlock to start things off. Now we do know that this is a faster Druid, and it is a Handlock, and that's right. He does have the Alexstrasza as one of his flavor cards of late game power. It's just really effective. I really wasn't a strong believer of Alexstrasza after Leroy got nerfed, so that way you can't combo anymore. But the more I listen to how people feel like it's really still very strong and a viable choice, I like it. You know, she still provides very good late game power. She's still a giant. She gives you the opportunity to maybe even kill your opponent a little bit faster, and of course, even be really strong against scenarios where you need to stay alive a little bit longer.
And back in the day, when Handlock first came into popularity, a lot of players would run Draxus and Alexstrasza.
Right.
And some of it was because of offensive capabilities, but some of it as well was because of defensive capabilities. But I think it's overall a good card. Now, this Druid was the fast Druid, of course, you can see, like you said. Runs double Shade, double Violet Teacher, double Power of the Wild from what we saw. We didn't even see a Force of Nature in the last game that we saw this, but we did see a double Savage Roar. So we'll see how that plays in. I think Druid against Handlock is a rough matchup for Druid, but I think that running double combo makes it a little bit better. Just because you can be a little bit more flexible with your combo and maybe use the first one to help clear the board and then the second one to push for damage. But still, as the Handlock player, you always have to play around that once you get to that threshold.
Yeah, makes sense. But until then, you still can tap, and that's what you really want to generate that early card ramp. Some pretty unfortunate draws here for FlyBird. He has none of his traditional turn 4 plays with Twilight Drakes or Mountain Giants. He's not even close to a turn 5 play, but he does have an Ancient Watcher, which allows him to tap while still being able to drop something on the menu without being too full of a hand. Gooby, he's got some interesting plays available to him too. The Shade Next Rammus, the earlier you get started, the better they become threats, especially since you have combo, but you also have Spectral Knight. Spectral Knight is very hard to deal with for any class that doesn't have minions out early on.
Yeah. I like this play because with the combo already in his hand, that gives the coin so much more value because you can bring the combo a turn sooner, which a Handlock might not be expecting. And also, like you said, getting those shades out early, is, even more so with that combo, like we said, is a little bit better. So holding onto that coin, I think, has a lot more value than getting out a quicker Spectral Knight.
Sure, makes sense. So Spectral Knight coming out here, does he hold on to the Shade of Next Rammus, you think?
Yes.
It's too risky to reveal at the moment. It just gets killed by a Dark Bomb.
Dark Bomb.
But I suppose it also dies to Hellfire.
Yeah. But then, well, which one would you rather have? I guess you might want to even rather have the Hellfire come out in this situation. So keeping its stealth would probably be the better choice. Forcing him to use the Hellfire as opposed to having the choice of using a Dark Bomb.
Sure. Ooh, some very interesting choices at his disposal now.
Wow, this is tough.
Right, you have the opportunity to put out Dr. Boom aggressively. Buy a teacher with Wrath to draw as well.
Like
Also
this.
not that bad.
Definitely like this. And Big Game Hunter as well in the hand. That's a nice card
Very good card
to
to
sort
draw.
of have for that safety. Oh,
Is that a good card?
that's a fantastic card. You clear the board right now.
Yeah. Clear the board and you can draw. Oh, no you can't. You have to just clear the board.
Yeah, you'd be have too many cards.
So you silence
He
the
can,
Ancient Watcher just to attack with it?
yeah,
That feels
you're gonna
very-
you're gonna Shadow Flame anyway, and you got to
I
find that one
suppose.
damage somewhere. You're preserving the slime in this case in this scenario. He has a second owl as well as sort of a.
I think I'd rather just keep the owl. Or maybe Mortal Coil instead.
Oh, I didn't see the. Okay, the Mortal Coil's tucked away in there. I like the Mortal
Yeah.
Coil better.
Mortal Coil, and then, yeah.
But you oh, hey, never mind. Okay. Looking pretty solid. Still a lot of big threats and some nice answers coming out for Gooby. But his momentum will be thwarted for now.
Harrison Jones, not that useful, and not that common either in Handlock. Lots of anti-warrior tech coming out today.
Yeah.
As well as anti-handlock too. Just because you have the double BGH, you have the Harrisons, the Black Knights.
I think putting in anti-warrior tech is actually a really good idea right now. Just so many people are bringing it.
So you're saying
So many
Blink Chon
scenarios.
3000 to destroy weapons are good?
Whoa! Next level.
It's my favorite legendary at the moment. Behind Hemet Nessingway.
Not Neptulon.
Neptulon's up there too.
Neptulon's actually my least favorite legendary.
He's my favorite.
I know.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, Sylvanas to challenge the Dr. Boom. That makes things a little bit awkward.
Actually, if this Boombot hits the face, he kills his opponent. He's gonna go for it? Oh wait! Does he he has the guaranteed damage because the face.
Yeah.
I was thinking of 21 because of combo plus
Yeah.
Dr. Boom, but I forgot you could just kill off with the hero power.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's it for game number 1. And Druid sneaks a win here with Dr. Boom being able to be the big finisher.
Yeah, and that's where that coin value really comes into play. You sort of have to get that read. It can be really enticing to want to coin out the Spectral Knight
Yep.
right off the bat as soon as you can get that out there. But Gooby played that really, really well. And it's tough to find. Well, I don't want to say it's tough to find openings for lethal like that against Handlock as the Druid player, but that's really how they win.
He had opportunities to squander it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So he followed the line, and unfortunately for FlyBird, he was just a little bit too laid back. He forgot about the coin.
He did.
It's just hard to keep track of everything, and that's why sometimes it's really good to keep tabs on every single thing your opponent's doing, the position of where he's playing his card. Has he used a coin or yet? A coin or not yet. Now, granted, it is Druid, so you always have the possibility of innervate with combo, but it's that less likely versus he has a coin.
Yeah, it's kind of habit to just look up at the mana crystals, C8, and be like, okay, without innervate, he doesn't have it. But you really have to keep track of that. So going to the next matchup, FlyBird's turn to play the Druid, and Gooby is going to go over to the Shaman. So this is a matchup that we haven't actually seen much of as of late, and Shaman has been pretty inconsistent. It's not many players are bringing it. A lot of pro players are saying that Shaman is one of the weaker classes. But how does it fare against the Druid, and this is a very ramp-heavy style from FlyBird, if I remember correctly.
It feels like it, although
It is Sunwalker.
I'm not sure what else he has in it. If he has Sunwalker, does that mean he has Kel'Thuzad?
Could be possible.
Could that be very, very powerful?
Yeah. We only
Does he have other really strong late game cards with Dr. Boom, Cenarius, etc.? I don't know. It's questions that I'm not exactly sure yet.
We only saw about 15 cards from his deck earlier, because the game was actually really quickly. He was playing against a Zoo deck, and then we never saw it again. So that answers your Dr. Boom question. Harrison Jones as well.
Right.
So that seems to be pretty standard in Druid decks.
Gooby plays the Doomhammer. I mean, that Harrison Jones will be really useful, but you want to get the Wild Growth. That's just what you want early on. And he gets it. Very strong start for the Druid. And he does play a copy of the combo, so he probably has scaled some of his late game power away in favor of being able to finish with his opponent. I always really don't like one copy of the combo, though, because I find that sometimes that piece is in the bottom 5 cards of your deck.
Yeah.
And you don't have a way for you to finish the game.
Well, I love double Savage Roar. I think double Savage Roar is really great.
Right, and one Force of Nature.
One Force of Nature. If you're gonna run one of something, or if you're not gonna run straight up double combo, I think one Force of Nature, double Savage Roar is the way to go.
FlyBird did that for his BlizzCon run. He had one Force of Nature, 2 Savage Roars.
Yeah, I think Savage Roar offers you a lot more flexibility, especially earlier on. Just with one creature on the board, you can get so much value just out of a single Savage Roar. You can trade up while still being able to clear a smaller secondary creature. I think it's pretty good, and usually you don't really have anything at that 3 spot for Druids.
Well, this is pretty unfortunate that FlyBird hasn't picked up any of his 3 or 4 drop minions.
Yeah.
Gooby's now allowed to take control of the board very proactively, and he has really good cards to follow up his momentum, too. Feral Spirits is pretty annoying to deal with. How do you do this as Druid without minions?
Yeah, and it's very annoying to deal with, especially for Druid, just because they don't really have clean ways to deal with it. You can Wrath, but Wrathing for 3 to effectively take out half a card, even though there's overload involved, so there could be an argument for, well...
Yeah, definitely not ideal.
Yeah, it's just pretty terrible.
So this is where you can build a case of how mana management is really important. Gooby has an opportunity to do a couple of things here. You can try to extend the board a little bit further and take advantage of the fact that Harvest Golem is not good. He can use Rockbiter and then try to use a coin to leverage the board a little bit more. But overall, I think this is a decent mixture of plays, because I think you want to pave the way for your Azure Drake to be as safe as possible. This feels like a swipe opportunity, though.
It does. But still not the... Doesn't feel like the best of swipes, because you're still only... You used a Wrath and a Swipe to take out half of a Haunted Creeper.
But it's fine in the context of what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to take away the board of Shaman, and you're soon going to have minions to play removal for you, especially Dr. Boom.
It's very true. Very true.
You're going to have 8 mana while your opponent has 5. Or 6, rather, to play with the following turn. Still pretty nasty.
And he'll be able to catch up a little bit on the card advantage with the Ancient of Lore. But Dr. Boom, I think, is a pretty good draw for Gooby, because he's going to be able to answer another big threat.
He's got combo next turn. And if the Boombots do significant damage...
Wow.
Who knows?
Yeah. If Gooby tries to answer the Boombot, or the Dr. Boom with his own Dr. Boom, could be rough, but...
Well, he chooses to go for Ancient of Lore instead.
I like this.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's running out of cards, and there was not many opportunities for him to be able to push next turn, because you know your opponent has a lot of cards. You know that he's probably going to have a way to deal with it. But, I mean, like, if this scenario had happened where that was a Dr. Boom on his board, and Gooby had just played a Dr. Boom in response, it would have been.
Is Fly okay? So
Game over.
FlyBird drew both pieces of the combo he had, and it's like that was very fortunate. And I'm also starting to wonder if he plays more than one combo, like you mentioned, and more of a rampy style. It's very interesting to think about for sure.
His deck is interesting. We haven't seen too much of it, but we saw Sunwalker's Faceless Manipulator as well.
Oh, that damage onto the Dr. Boom allows him to get a really good trade. But he's got his own answer to Dr. Boom. He's got Hex.
Make you throw the Boom Pod in
First.
Well,
What if you lose your Drake?
That's
I think I like Hex. Just let the damage be done.
yeah.
And then Harvest Golem is perfectly fine here too. You're not threat of combo. Just more targets for the Boom Bot to like whiff.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe if your Boom Bot had gotten a little bit of damage onto the Dr. Boom, you could have tried to roll high for a Crackle. But then you sort of would have been in the same situation, except if you rolled low, then you would have been down a Crackle.
Well, Sludge Belcher is problematic, but not as problematic as these Feral Spirits. They're very annoying, but a fortunate bounce for this Boom Bot can change things.
There's a possibility that they could just straight up take out the Azure Drake.
Yeah,
Which would
actually
be
almost
best.
anything can happen.
Best case scenario here. Well, we'll see what it's gonna do.
I think I'm like leaning towards the possibility of dropping Sludge Belcher and then like facelessing the Sludge Belcher. Oh, that's terrible.
That's unless it hit face for one, that's worst case scenario.
So he's gonna Keeper and Sylvanas. That's also very that's possible too. And like that could be a pretty decent play considering that Sylvanas challenges the board and most likely might take something.
Time waits for no one.
It's a tough choice. And if Sylvanas lives for the next turn, then he can always
Right.
faceless it and make it a really problematic situation for Gooby. Oh, well that's convenient.
That's excellent. So Earthshock does 2 damage. The Boom Bot can do.
And you just want a Lightning Storm? When else are you going to find value for a Lightning Storm? You don't really have anything that you want to like fit into your curve next turn. If you roll high on Keeper,
I don't
good.
think you have to though, because you still have the opportunity to use like a 9 mana next turn with Defender, Harvest Golem, and a Hero Power Totem.
That's true.
So this is very
Whoa,
strong.
and 4 to face as well, threatening lethal next turn.
Oh man, just
And-
gonna go for it.
Crackle can give you a surprising amount of reach as well.
That's right.
I think
I think the play is to actually go defensive here, which is Sludge Belcher faceless.
Sludge Belcher, yeah, faceless the Sludge Belcher. Wow.
Oh, combo clear. Yikes. That never feels good.
No.
Especially since you can't even full clear.
Yeah. Well, he leaves the Harvest Golem on the board. Oh,
Well-
double Defender.
His hope is that his opponent can't follow up on this play and has a bunch of reactive spells. But the reality is, Gooby is now a high roll away from killing his opponent.
Yes, he is. A very high roll. But a high roll nonetheless.
Do you faceless, or do you Sludge Belcher the Sunwalker?
Do I Sludge Belcher the Sunwalker?
Do you faceless the Sunwalker, or do you play Sludge
Oh,
Belcher?
I faceless the Sunwalker. Well, I don't know. I think the Sludge Belcher actually might be a little stickier. No, it's hard to say.
Is that lethal? Let's see what he gets off the Spell Power Totem. Oh, actually, I think it is. Depending on this Crackle roll. 4 trade. No. He actually needed that to be a 5, and that would have been lethal.
Yeah.
So, pretty close, but not able to get it.
Yeah. Well, but he got through those 2 guys, so he's still in a pretty good position. I mean, these guys are both running off fumes as far as their hand goes. Big Game Hunter's not going to be the draw that he needs, and Sludge Belcher's going to buy him some time, and he could start gaining health behind that Sludge Belcher with the hero power. But
wait for it. Wait for it, TJ. Neptulon.
Does he run it? Have we seen it? Have we seen it from Mulligans?
But I feel like Neptulon would fit so good in this deck. Oh!
I think that's even better than Neptulon.
Gooby's out 2-0 over FlyBird.
Yeah.
And he doesn't bat an eye.
And he gives the old Gooby smile. The patented Gooby smile. And yeah, 1 win away from... That would be pretty impressive if he 3-0'd both.
Yes.
I think we've seen 1 3-0 in the Challenger Finals. 1 3-0, 3-0 in the Challenger Finals before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly who it was, but I know it happened. We've been through a lot of weeks here. It's week 6.
I want to say it was like Weifu or something.
Yeah, it might have been Weifu. He definitely had a big run. Silent Storm, there was one where he fell down the first round and then worked his way back up in 2 quick series, but definitely very impressive stuff by Gooby. 1 win away from securing his spot in tomorrow's matches, and it's going to be Handlock versus Warrior. So this is a very winnable matchup for both sides.
One more time, Handlock versus Warrior. Well, realistically, we might see it again later today, one more time as well. But it feels like Gooby is getting all the right stuff here, and I'm actually very curious to see what happens in the blind pick stage as well.
If there is one.
Yeah, I feel like, because you might make a legitimate case where Shaman could get picked from Gooby. Because Shaman's decent against all these classes. It's not necessarily poor.
Pretty good against Handlock.
It's like okay, that's his weakest matchup, but I think it's good against Warrior and it's great against Druid.
Druid, yeah.
It's like all these other different things, and I want to see more Shaman. I think it's a very underrepresented class at the moment. Well, here we go. Game number 3 for Gooby versus FlyBird. This is an ugly hand for both players. Not really what you want.
Yeah.
The execute might be good though, so I think you keep that.
I think the execute's a keep. I think even the shield, well, shield block is a tough keep because
with no shield block,
with no shield slam, yeah.
But it is a play to do on turn 3 because sometimes Acolyte on itself is not necessarily that strong.
No. I think I might. Yeah, I think I'd feel inclined to keep the shield block.
I think I keep only execute and I toss back everything else.
Okay.
I'm definitely looking for ways to activate execute. Oh, he keeps everything? Oh no, he tossed away everything. No, he kept everything. No, he tossed away everything.
Okay. I was a little bit confused there for a moment as well.
Yeah, spectator mode a little funny with that, but
I'm really surprised that he didn't keep the execute.
Well,
at least.
Yeah. I definitely understand, but you know, it's very easy to say. Look at that hand. Two pair. He's got shield slam, cruel taskmaster.
It's a match made in heaven.
Oh look, he got the shield block. Everything's okay. Love when that happens.
Well, that's fortunate, but if he didn't draw into that, he could have been in a really rough situation.
Well, he still is, because as soon as a Farseer or something comes out, then it's like, well, you know, do I have to use a shield slam on this? He doesn't have a weapon.
Well, that changes things just a little bit there. Now his hand's starting to look a little better.
Yeah, it looks a lot better, for sure.
He'll be able to deal with any turn 4 threat, but
Ancient Watcher tap. It's like, well, how do I deal with this Ancient Watcher? Do I just let it be? The answer is you might have to.
We talked a lot about it a couple weeks ago in week number 5 of the Legendary Series about the viability of just holding on to bigger threats especially against Warrior, and being really patient and trying to not bait out removal, but get your opponent to use that removal on things that are less important, like not the giants and stuff like that. And so you can make a case for saying, well, it's not too bad that he doesn't have big threats early on. Because most of the time, it's pretty likely that a warrior's going to have removal. And putting out a threat, well, not even a threat, but just something like this Ancient Watcher that's just really annoying to deal with, can sometimes be even better than just throwing out that giant all willy-nilly.
Yeah, definitely. Now it's like, do you attack with this weapon at all? Because he runs Harrison Jones in his own deck, right?
Yeah.
Do you even start chopping this Ancient Watcher because you do have shield block? I don't think it's personally worth it. Oh, nice draw. But we all know what's going to happen to that Drake.
It's going to get X'd. Not axed. I guess that was a poor choice
X'd?
of words. Yeah, you know, just like shield slammed. X'd.
Oh.
Done. Put an X through it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what I was thinking when I heard X'd. I guess the first thing that pops in my mind was like a broken relationship of some kind, like my ex-boss or my ex-girlfriend, so it's like...
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. I could see where you'd be
I have
confused with
commitment,
that
I have
context.
commitment issues, man.
I can tell. I can tell. Well,
Don't tell my future wife. This Mountain Giant is another good draw for Gooby, but there's a perfect response lined up here. This is like, again, a case for why sometimes having... Like, assuming that Big Game Hunter wasn't there, this is a case where sometimes why Sludge Belcher or other threats could be legitimate. But even if you killed off this Giant, there's still Dr. Boom next turn.
And there's still those Ancient Watchers that are looming behind the scenes.
Still these very annoying statues just staring at you very creepily.
Yeah. And it's weird to think about like a Defender of Argus like giving a giant statue taunt. Like you could look at the Defender of Argus and like a normal sized like human or a Draenei, I guess is what the Defender of Argus is, putting its shield in front of an Ancient Watcher, a giant statue, and saying, you can't attack that, or you can't attack me until you attack this.
He's a Draenei?
Draenei? I believe so.
Draenei, is that what you said?
No, I said, what did I don't even know anymore. But yeah, isn't Argus like the home world of the Draenei?
I thought he wanted to protect against it. Like, he was trying to prevent the demons from going through. I thought that's what it was. So he's like a good guy, but I guess he's a bad guy, because I thought the Draenei was like... I thought he was protecting it from... Like, Argus was a bad place.
Okay.
Argus is a bad man. You are never to speak with me ever
Frodan,
again, TJ.
master of Warcraft lore.
I am not. Quite the opposite, in fact. Oh, these bombs! Oh. Well, that was very mediocre, to say the least. Although the bomb did shred away a lot of the armor.
Yeah.
And Dark Bomb did fall in the hand. Gooby has been drawing perfectly off the top of his deck.
Well, he had a very poor starting hand, so as a handlock, it's not like... It's hard to say he got top deck. Because
wow!
There's just... Okay, now we can say it. Just answer after answer.
Yep.
And now the armor has whittled away, and... I mean, that's a case where maybe you should utilize those shield slams before you use the BGH. Because if he had shield slam to last, things might have played out a little differently.
Well, he didn't have the guaranteed knowledge that his opponent would play Dr. Boom, and
That's
then
true.
he'd have to play Baron Geddon.
Yeah.
But he did take a lot of damage swinging at the Dr. Boom.
Mm-hmm. So, I like to make a case for when you have the option of using a removal and shield slam when you have armor, using the shield slam first while you have the armor, because you're not guaranteed armor for the rest.
Motion considered. Motion denied. Well, you were making a case, but I didn't think you were very convinced.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
convince yourself before you try to convince me, TJ.
Evidence packet A on your screen in front of you.
How about this case? Armor Smith wins the brawl.
That's not even a case.
Armor Smith wins the brawl. Your Honor, I rest my case. Dang. Well, you know, brawl is out of the way, though. Which means...
Yeah, and it didn't really get rid of that much. It got rid of a Mountain Giant and 2 injured Ancient Watchers.
Unless he has a second Brawl. Or the perfect response. He's got Cool Taskmaster, Execute.
Both these guys are.
And, you know, he can start lining up his weapon to start killing off, too. Start having the potential to kill off his opponent.
If this match right now was made into a sitcom,
Oh, no weapon.
it'd be called Top Deckin' and Reckin'. It's both these guys are
They just play at the top of their decks.
are
They're not even. They just might as well have tossed away.
They have no
like,
cards.
the first 5 cards to the left,
Yeah.
and then just played the rest of the match. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Nothing has really changed. That Farseer has been the hand since the beginning of the game, and of course we know Jiraxis is sitting there, but there's Harrison Jones winning on the other end. I feel like Warrior's in a very good spot, and Handlock's gonna have a hard time sealing this one away.
And that seems to be the case if the Handlock can't get overwhelming control over the game, like around the middle part or coming up on like that turn 10, then a lot of the times once you get to that super late game, the Warrior usually has the edge. At least that's what it seemed like in the last couple weeks. Of course, it can go differently. Like if the Warlock can get a safe Jiraxis out and start putting out those 6/6 tokens, and if they still have a lot of taunts left or heals left, and they can stay a little bit out of range of the Grommash combo for a few turns. Sometimes they can just outgun the Warrior, but it doesn't seem like that's the case very often.
Sure.
I think you want to attack into the Armor Smith first, and then Mortal Coil the Cruel Taskmaster.
Yeah. Just because you don't want to give him an armor.
And also, well, I was thinking because the Despite, you don't want to leave your Arthur Ring Farseer at 1 health.
Sure, makes sense to me. Ragnaros comes out, trying
Chip
to draw
away at that
more
armor.
removal. And, well, you're going to be using Execute on it. And you have Shield Maiden, so you don't feel like you have to drop something unnecessarily. Shield Maiden's a pretty decent response, too. Shield Maiden plus the Cool Taskmaster.
What do you think about Alex Straza? Like, hit the Earthen Ring Farseer, execute the Rag, Alex Straza.
Ah. Alex your opponent, too. Not yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying your play, because your play could be interpreted in 2 different ways here, TJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if your play is to suggest to Alex yourself, I heavily disagree with that.
You want to Alex Straza yourself to give your opponent a false sense of security.
Well, you play around Molten Giants.
Bait them to go aggressive
Yeah, absolutely.
because of how juicy your health looks. No armor, and he's at
I
15 health?
actually, yeah, I don't actually mind Alex here. I think it's fine. Shield Maiden is also okay with me, but Alex is fine too.
And still hold on to the coin as well,
Okay.
which is pretty interesting. Seems
Well,
like a trend. Warriors holding on to the coin.
now this Drake will have 10 health as soon as he taps. Oh, he's afraid to tap because of Grommash, right?
Would it
So
matter
you
in the
Drake
long run?
and then you Drake and then anti-Killbot. That's too bad because now a Shield Slam will be able to kill off the Drake.
He's trying to think of his other plays here, but I don't really see anything else.
The other play is to tap Drake and then Defender Vargas, which also is okay too because it challenges the 5/5.
It brings it out of range of just
I was
I guess it would've been out
so
of range.
expecting a Black Knight to come off the top.
oh man, that would have been pretty devastating.
Still can happen. We have 5 mana and the coin remaining. Tease.
I don't know. Was FlyBird the one actually running the Black Knight?
I don't remember. but I feel like it was. The only other person it could have been was Ozzy.
I think it was FlyBird, but I think it was in FlyBird's Druid. I don't know. I don't remember.
I remember seeing a Black Knight, but I don't recall if it was in this deck specifically. But imagine if he drew Black Knight, it would have been wild.
And I would not be surprised because you've been on a rampage today with calling cards.
Whoa, shield slamming just so that you can get value off of it. Man.
Ouch. I mean, I guess it's effective.
Oh. So he's got Shadow Flame now, which is great. But more specifically, he's got a board clear, and then he can drop Loatheb. So, I mean, I think you want to Hellfire this, right? Hellfire doesn't get a lot of value in this matchup.
Hellfire. And yeah, throw down Loatheb. Or even, no. You'd have to
you have to
Killbot.
antique?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes. Yeah. Man, it sucks to play cards that are in my hand.
Well, he actually, no, he played 2 cool Taskmasters. So he can't 12 damage you.
Oh yeah, he used one to draw from the Acolyte and one to proc the execute from earlier. Very true.
Oh, he's gonna Jiraxis? Oh, okay. Because, like, I thought that play meant he was gonna go for Jiraxis and then attack the 1/3, but it was like, that's so risky.
Okay, well this works as well. I think you wanted to get the Hellfire out of the way when you could, though. Because other than a finisher, at this point, you're gonna have most likely gonna have a board that Hellfire's gonna damage as well.
You might want to use Hellfire as like in conjunction with other AoE, but I agree with you. I think Hellfire doesn't really do much against Warrior, other than hurts their feelings.
Yeah, that was a pretty juicy Hellfire. As juicy as Hellfire can be.
Yeah.
Except on like a board full of...
Because now Hellfire gets increasingly more difficult because now you're killing off your own Loatheb.
And also, well, I guess it doesn't really matter you're putting yourself in range, but that seemed like a safe point in the match to be able to use Hellfire without putting yourself in danger of dying.
Well, now this still is, you can still Hellfire here. Perfectly comfortable. And when he plays Sludge Belcher, well, Hellfire needs to do a little bit more damage, actually. Hellfire is pretty weak here. Never mind. I thought, for some reason, I thought Armor Smith would have 3 health. This is inconvenient.
Tap first. Oh. Well, that's okay.
It's not bad. It's not the best, though.
I think it was better than any play that he probably would have had otherwise.
Right.
But still, after the Sludge Belcher, he doesn't really have a follow-up play.
Man, Harrison's just waiting for Jiraxis to take his weapon and draw the rest of the deck. Then Gooby is going to wait for FlyBird to deck himself so severely that it won't matter. And then he'll have access to a weapon. Pretty tense game, back and forth.
And that's pretty much a trend for this matchup. Handlock versus Warrior, we talked about it earlier. Seen this so many times. Both of these decks are brought by almost every player across the last couple weeks, not only in the Challenger Finals, but also in, of course, the match day on Saturday. So, well, he's got some big threats here. He's got the Harrison Jones for the chance of Jiraxis. I wonder if one of our admins can mouse over these card counts so we can get a little bit of an idea.
Well, it's got 8 cards, I think, just by eyeballing it. But more importantly, FlyBird has an opportunity to seize the initiative on the board here.
You were very close, but that is 7 cards.
How is that 7 cards? That's 8 cards.
No, I'm talking about in their not in their hands. I'm sorry, in their decks.
Oh.
Oh, you want me to have an admin?
I thought you were like have the admin count how many cards are in the hands
and tell us. Oh man.
I'm like, well, TJ, if you had
for about 10 seconds there, Frodan thought a lot less of me as a person.
And now the tables have turned.
No, I said hand, so it's my fault.
Oh, did you say hand?
I said hand.
Okay.
I should have said deck. So we're. Wow.
Well, how's this for a Hellfire? Hellfire BGH. I think it's as good as ever.
I agree. Well, depending on how these bombs hit, this could be pretty dangerous. If both hit for 4, he's at 10. 3, 1. Okay.
Reasonable.
Definitely reasonable.
You don't want to really be tapping anymore if you're Gooby, just because you're already so low on cards, right?
It's good. Yeah, it's gonna start getting to the point of fatigue.
Right. When can you even Jiraxis? You need Jiraxis to close out the game, resource-wise.
At the very, very end.
But,
he's got both Siphon Souls.
Warrior's not under any pressure, though.
I don't think the Warlock is either.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna die of fatigue.
He's not that far behind.
Right.
It's 7 cards to 4 cards, so there's only a 3 card advantage there.
That's pretty good though. Like he needs something other than this BGH to threaten stuff. So you Siphon Soul. Or he's 1 health up. Alex Straza denied him from being able to play Molten Giant and Siphon Soul.
That's pretty big. I don't think he really has a choice here though.
I have no time for games.
He's gonna take Alex Straza.
Wow. Well, he knows both removals are gone, so I guess this is a pretty good play. He wants that threat on the board to start chipping away at that armor.
Wow, that's actually a very, very clever play.
Oh! But Rag. This could be a pretty big Rag here.
Yeah, if it hits face. I feel like that's bad, though, if it hits the face. No! Wait! Hold on. He's got Siphon Soul. Molten Giant. And then I guess he taunts, so that way he can't get through. This is really bad for FlyBird.
I don't even know if he'd have a way to get through. Well, I guess with Whirlwind and
Execute. No, he already used both executes and both shield slams.
no, yeah. So with this
How
wall,
do you get past this?
you don't.
That was his last chance. He needed to kill off one of these minions. More importantly, that Alex Strauss is doing so much damage the other way.
Oh yeah. 16, 22 damage left.
So now, that was a very good play from Gooby to Sylvana's Shadow Flame for the Alex Straza. Very clever.
And Gooby.
3-0, 3-0.
That's
back.
That's impressive.
Well done.
Yeah, a very consistent player because we said it earlier, but I again, for those of you guys who are joining us who didn't join us in week number 5 for those Challenger Finals, this is Gooby's second time making it to the top 4 in that 2-week span. And the last time he didn't make it to match day, had some close matches, but got beaten out. But this time around, taking 6-0 in his first 2 matches.
Not going to get denied this time. He got 3rd place in the last Open Cup, which means he was 1 place away from going to the main event. But he has gone through today successfully, 6-0 in decisive fashion, playing his own decks, like the Shaman, which is cool, and his own version of Druid. So here we go. We have FlyBird versus Ozzy, a rematch from earlier today. And that's going to be a really interesting one because these guys are familiar with each other's decks. How does that line up? Does that change anything at all? Not exactly sure, TJ.
Yeah, and of course the loser is out. The winner is the second player to move on from that match. And of course the loser does go home with a little bit of cash because this is basically the top 4 of that Sunday Cup, which has a $500 prize pool innately. But still, it's pocket change, and I'm sure these guys want to make it tomorrow to have a chance to go for that $20,000 for that land final in February. But we'll have to see who's going to make it through.
For sure. That series, by the way, was brought to you by Newegg, Western Digital Crucial and Cooler Master. Check out all their cool stuff at the link that you see right here below at ESL's website at the Newegg Esports section. You can check out all the cool discounts they have on all the products. They're the people that help make this possible and partially why we're able to put on week-to-week broadcasts as well. We're going to take a few minutes to get ready for our second place match of the day to see who is going to take the runner-up spot and join the Saturday main event. Don't go anywhere. More Legendary Series continues right after this.